everybody. I am going to give you some quick instruction that will really help you do the Excel portion of your next lab report. Okay, here we have some make-believe data. Notice, not a real experiment. So these aren't real times. These aren't real dilutions. So what I want to show you is how to work with the data that you do have in order to get the best and quickest, most easy results. Okay, you'll notice that the samples that were plated are listed over here on the left margin, and that they are in pairs because you did duplicates, right? And so these would be examples of data where you have plate counts, and here's T and TC. These numbers right here would be the times, say in hours. Now I have some dilutions here. We're going to make the make-believe that these first two samples have this dilution factor here, which is 10,000. So, if you dilute samples 1 to 10,000 and then you plate them, you want to divide the results by the 1 to 10,000. Dividing by a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the denominator. So anyway, we can just multiply by these numbers here. Well, if you notice, by looking at these, this is 1 mil, and this is 0.1 mil, 1 mil, 0.1 mil, just sort of like yours. Now, these two here are 10 times less than this. So this, you can do this, or you can just write things in by yourself if you want. But this is what I like to do. Just saves me a minute. Okay, if we say equals this number here times 10, because this one is 10 times more dilute, and then we do the same thing for the next one, equals this one times 10. Okay, so our first two dilutions here are actual numbers, but the next two are a formula that we can copy and paste that says make the next things 10 times more. Copy, paste, paste. Hey, all the dilutions are listed. So if you know what your dilution factors are and how much they vary from one another, and you see what a serial dilution does and what the pattern is, you can practice using Excel formulas to make your column of dilutions quicker. Alright, you'll see there's a particular reason why I've listed them all here right at the end of the table. It's because the easiest way to do your calculations in Excel is not one thing at a time, but just to multiply the whole darn table and get the whole thing done. So let's work on this square right here. Okay, what we want to do is multiply the dilution factor, which is in G5, so equals, and we're going to keep it in G, so $sign G5, because we're going to be copying and pasting, and we always want to go back to this column G where the dilutions are. Okay, we multiply that by the first entry into the column of data, which is right here, B5. Okay? We got that. Great. Basically what we want to do is multiply everything in this row by this dilution, everything in the next row by the next dilution, everything in that row by the next dilution. You got the idea? So we can go copy and paste. Don't worry about that. And then we can also, paste. Okay, all your dilution calculations are done. All you had to do is set them up properly, calculate the dilution factors properly, but boom, okay? Now, you got all these things that say value. Oh no, it's not important. Okay, what you ought to do now, what I like to do, is take this whole table of actual concentrations of CFU and copy that and just paste it immediately underneath the table as values. Okay? So you got the numbers up here, and now you have them copied here. Now you get rid of stuff that you don't want. Okay, let's suppose for this particular experiment that we're doing here that we can only use numbers between 50 and 200. Okay, I'm making this up. This is analogous to what you need to do. But we can only use the numbers between 50 and 200. Okay, if we look at this first column, we can use the first two, but none of the other values are allowable. So, select and delete. TNTC gives us something that says value. That's not a number, we can't use it. Delete it. Okay, well you can use the next two numbers, everything below that, we can't. Delete it. It's kind of like doing a sculpture, where you start with a block of marble, and you keep chipping away at it until you make a face. It's the same idea. You take this whole block of stuff that's got stuff you can't use, chip away and get rid of all the stuff that you can't use. Okay? Do the same thing here. Take out that. Take out these. Take out all these. Take out all these. What's this one down here? Take out all these. We said 50 to 200 for this particular thing, so we take those out. And those are the actual numbers that we can graph. Okay. The only other thing that I want to make sure that you understand is that you need to take all these numbers and put them in two columns. A column of X data, which are time in hours, and a column of Y data, which is your CFUs per gram. Okay? So, we can start off with our first time here is 0. Now, how many 0 time samples do we have? We have 2. Okay, we put in 0 twice. And then we go ahead and move these numbers in. I like to copy them and not just move them, so that these numbers are always still here, and if I don't like something, I can always go back to them. So I copy instead of move. Okay, 4 hours looks like it's next. There's two values, this one and this one. We copy. There's two of the next one. 8, 8. Copy. There's only one 12. And you all know this is click on it and then hold down the control key and get that little plus sign. You all know how to do that, right? 16 hours, only one of those. Click, control, you get the little plus there, drag it down, and you're there. Then you can make a graph. And I'm not going to put all your labels and stuff on that now. Ta-da! Oh look, it looks sort of exponential. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now the other thing that you're going to have to do is make a log graph. Doing log in Excel is really simple. Okay, the easiest way to do this is to go ahead and copy the times again. And just make another separate row. And now you can do the logs. Very interesting, simple formula. Equals log of that. Ta-da! There's your log. Want to do it with all the other ones? Copy, paste, voila. And now you can go ahead and make your graph. Make sure you put your units on there correctly. And, you know, you'll have made 2 graphs, and your lab report will be just great. So there you go. I hope that's really helpful to you. As always, if there's something you don't understand, email me, and I will do my best to help.